Today I'm going to try to draw this bell tower in Nafplio, Greece, and please excuse the wacky lighting in this video. I have absolutely no control over what the sun will and won't do, and I can assure you that the volatile lighting bothers me so much more than it does you, especially while drawing. Let's just say it's a good thing you can't hear what I'm saying in the actual video. But anyway, if you can get past it, which I'm sure you can, I think you'll enjoy this one. It's quite a bit different from many others. In fact, I can't think of another that it is like, and I think that's awesome. This one could have gone a lot of different ways, but I think where I take it will be surprising. Sure, surprising. Let's find out. But first, if you're enjoying this series and you find yourself enjoying this video, go ahead and give it a like. It probably does something for the algorithm, maybe, I assume, so I'd really appreciate it. If you're not subscribed, obviously do that as well. And aside from that, I hope you like the drawing and the stuff I'm gonna say about it. So, as you can see, I'm just plodding away over here. I really wanted this to not suck. I mean, I always want them to not suck, but this one in particular, I felt that because it's such a straightforward scene or subject or whatever, one small innocent mistake could just shatter any hope for this to be nice looking. Immediately upon starting, I knew that the first creative crevasse I would need to avoid was the proportions. Easily, I could mess that up. So to avoid that, I really took my time here, noting the width of, say, this middle section. It's give or take twice the width of the walls on either side, which I know sounds extremely imprecise and insufficient given what I just said about innocent mistakes. But all things considered, that tiny difference won't be the end of the world for me. Had I not measured it out at all, then yeah, maybe I'd have a problem. But I'm doing my best with what I have, and this seemed the most obvious place from which to start. Moving forward, I reached the arch and the gigantic bell, which were important to me, but not as important as the overall proportions in terms of accuracy. Now that I had at least the lower section of the tower in place, I could relax into the drawing a bit more. If the bell was a little big or small or shaped differently, that wasn't a problem I felt like worrying about. Anyway, once I got up to the arch and the bell, you'll notice that I completely shaded them in. I made them pitch black, immediately committing to this high contrast look, which will be a theme all the way through. When framing this reference shot, I knew that I wanted the darker parts of the scene to be completely in silhouette. The tree on the side, the bell, the inside of the tower, all of that stuff should be seriously dark. And ideally, I'd be able to contrast those things with the lightness of the rest of the drawing. I knew ahead of time that I didn't want to fill this with a ton of texture outside of those dark areas because I wanted this to feel stark. So the tower itself, the ground, the wall on the left, all of that stuff will stay pretty light in comparison, as you'll see. And even though I'm constantly tempted to fill it in to match, what I'm seeing in the reference, this is a drawing that I had more of a conceptual understanding of before starting. I'm pretty much always taking what I see and just trying to literally draw it on the paper. So to have something like this kind of pop up out of nowhere, something I sort of ingested, then expanded upon conceptually, that was really exciting. I wasn't sure it was going to work out the way I'd envisioned, but I knew I had to try it. Plus, I convinced myself to avoid over-texturizing, if that's a word, over-texturizing the tower, primarily to avoid the inevitable mess I would create having the tree right next to it. Also, now that I'm really thinking about it, this ends up as the mirror version of almost all of my regular drawings. Usually, I'm letting the trees be more implicit, while the structures and whatnot come to life more completely with like sharper detail, texture, etc. But here, I'm almost allowing everything else to be that implicit component, while the tree and the rest of the areas in deep shadow get to be explicit and, attended to, I guess. Anyway, beyond that, this drawing was one that demanded my slow, careful, undivided attention. I've been playing around with a lot more sketchy drawings lately, just trying to figure out some shapes before settling into the drawings. But had I erratically sketched this one out or even marked some loose preliminary lines, I would undoubtedly have lost the clean, almost like graphic feel that I'm going for here. So yeah, I'm glad I had the foresight for whatever reason to take my time with this one because in my opinion, it really came together in the end. Speaking of the end, here we are, and I don't think I could be happier. While this may not be the most exciting or dynamic drawing I've ever done, I think it's representative of my ability to control my line work and produce something high contrast, and that's exciting for me. This is so dissimilar to so many of my drawings, and it's really nice to see that I haven't totally boxed myself into one style or something. One big thing worth noting that went straight over my head in the moment, maybe you caught it, is how the tree doesn't show through this little window to the other side. It should be cutting directly through the middle there, but I don't know and I don't really care. I'm kind of glad I left it out and I like the drawing nonetheless. What do you think? Let me know in the comments, like the video if you have a second, and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying this series. Anyway, as always, I appreciate you for taking the time to watch this one, and I'll see you on Monday. Thanks.